keeping your crown fit and your soul lit.
Too lit. Before lit.
This is the Crowns Up Podcast with Xavier Brandon, the #1 spot for hip-hop, faith, and culture.
I do this for my culture.
Streaming on all digital and streaming platforms. Follow us on social media at Crowns Up Pod. Subscribe and like on YouTube and get the latest hip-hop news and what's good with the culture.
Represent the entire hip-hop culture, man.
Meet us at the crossroads for dope convos and questions on faith. Get the barbershop debate raw and real with top 5 interviews with family, influencers, and get a mic check with your favorite artists.
Mic check 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Remember to always keep your crowns up.
Yo, what's poppin', family? It's your man Xavier Brandon. You know already it's another episode of the Crowns Up Podcast, #1 spot for hip hop, faith, and culture, keeping your crown fit and your soul lit, man. Shout out to everybody that's tapped in with us today. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, if you on Spotify, if you watching on YouTube, if you done seen us on IG, a clip, if your mama and somebody say, yo, you gotta watch this, we appreciate you. Shout out to you. Make sure you follow and subscribe on all social media at Crowns Up Pod. That's CROWNSUPPOD. You already know we trying to get dope content. Please drop a review. Please share. We need the subscribers up, okay? We need to try to get in these numbers, you know what I mean, so people can see that this is dope content that people need and want to hear. So we appreciate all y'all for supporting us. Of course, we back in the garage. We got another dope episode waiting for you. Man, my brother is in the building. You know what I mean? For those that you can see, those that you can't, man, this man is a living legend, all right? He may not, he's real humble, so he ain't going to sit there and point it out there. But I'm going to tell you, okay? My man's been all around the world, okay? He's from Africa. The boy from Africa. He's in the building. Guyanese, man, he's a solid dude. We have dope conversations, and I just thought it was awesome and amazing that I bring him to you all so you can know who he is. I'm not going to give too much away, but just let you know this man is a champion. He's a proud member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. He is all about the international vibes. He been on it. When y'all was just thinking about, when y'all wasn't even paying attention, my man was on it. He is the Dark Secret himself. Oh, say the Dark Secret is in the building. Oh, say what's poppin', baby.
Hey, the energy, I'm laughing.
Yo. I'm trying to get on that sway level, man. You know, with the intro. I'm trying to let people know. You know what I mean? Make you feel home.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate the welcome, man.
Yo, man, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. You know, I'm a little tired today.
It's been a rough day.
Yeah, it's been a long night, but you know, we here and just thankful, man. I mean, what we gonna complain about?
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
How about yourself?
I'm good, man. You know, these lights real bright. I'm sweating out here, you know what I mean?
Yeah, fire lamp.
Right. But I'm glad we here, man. I think is amazing opportunity to talk about some real good stuff. But for those that may not know who you are, who have not been introduced to you, Osei, can you tell a little bit about yourself, where you from, like what you do, like, you know what I mean, all that stuff. Introduce yourself to the people.
All right. So Osei Kweku, Osei the Dark Secrets. I've been in media for a good minute, a long time. I say that. I started as an intern at WPGC in DC for Donnie Simpson. Thea Mitchum was the intern coordinator. Reggie Rouse was the producer. So PGC was a very historic station in DC, and I cut my teeth in that city and then kind of grew DC, Philly, Baltimore, Atlanta, just doing some different things in multimedia. BET was my first, job doing voiceovers. So I've been fortunate, and I've always tried to connect and bridge the continent, you know what I'm saying, to America. And, I feel like I was probably one of those individuals that was a little bit of a fish out of water, so to speak, in terms of, you had a lot of Caribbean influence. Excuse me, but you didn't have anybody from Africa.
Facts.
So there it is. And, breaking Afrobeat music on terrestrial radio first in America, introducing, I would say the sound to the U.S. I mean, on that level. It's always been here, but I'm talking about on a commercial level.
Pioneer in the building. Yo, God has blessed me to be around some amazing people, and I will have to say, my man Osei is top tier, okay?
Thank
the
you,
fact that, you know what I mean, he can say, like, he been doing this for a minute. When he started name dropping BET, Conflex, okay? Breaking Afro beats, Conflex, okay? Yo, appreciate you, Osei, pulling up, man.
You,
I think I'm ready. We got to get into it. You ready?
Sure.
All right, so you already know we got to get into what's good with the culture. You know that's a culture report of what's happening in our hip-hop culture. And we got a lot of good things to talk about today. Finally, thank the Lord. Shout out to our man, another pioneer, another living legend, Pharrell Williams. Pharrell is launching a new private school for low-income students. Salute to you, Pharrell, because we need more schools. He says if the system is fixed and unfair, then needs to be broken. We don't want lockstep learning where so many kids fall behind. We want bespoke learning designed for each child, where the things that make a child different are the same things that will make a child rise up and take flight. So kids in grades 3 through 5 will be able to enroll in his new school. It's got STEM, science, technology, engineering, art, and math in the curriculum. It's going to open a middle school next year, as well as other schools, man. You can enroll at Yellow's website, Yellow Lab, that is, until July 1st, and students will be selected using a lottery system. Man, that is big news, man. Like, Osei, from your perspective of seeing these hip-hop and these cultural icons give back in this way, what does that mean for us as a culture and as a people?
Well, first, salute to Pharrell. I got a special connection to Virginia just because I went to school there.
Dope.
And I think that Pharrell's always trailblazing and trend-setting in some way. So I draw a lot of inspiration from a lot of things I've seen him do. I know he's got the Something in the Water Festival, which, you know, speaks volumes to what that means and, you know, the whole connection. But Pharrell doing that is showing hip-hop's evolution and growth. And I think that, you know, you start off accumulating a lot of material things, and then, you know, you transition into legacy. So what Pharrell's doing is legacy building.
Yeah.
And he's not only doing it, you know, not from an egotistical place. He's just doing it. You know what I'm saying? And he's giving back. And I see, you know, it's really reflective. I've only met him a few times, but I really was taken by how humble he was.
Yeah.
Always. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like this is just, you know, who he is, and it's a reflection, and it's good to see that in the Tidewater. I love Virginia, man. That Tidewater area is very special.
Dope.
Yep.
Yeah, man. The Virginia native is giving back to his hometown. I think it's always great when you see artists, producers, people of the hip hop culture, like you said, leave legacy and give back. I mean, my man made Rump Shaker, okay? A lot of people don't know about that. My man made Rump Shaker, and now he's giving back. Of course, he, you know, millions of streams, billions of dollars, all that good jazz. You know what I mean? But like the fact that he's saying, you know, I remember where I came from, and I'm willing to give back, and especially in these low income places where most of the time our people are looked over or they're not even considered. They don't have the resources that they need. For somebody like him to give back and help the next generation be able to achieve and strive and thrive, I think that's dope. So salute to you, Pharrell. Man, keep it up. We definitely riding with you here at the Crownsup Podcast, definitely supporting it. Another person who is actually doing some major big things is NLE Choppa. Okay? If y'all not familiar with NLE Choppa, go look him up. He's definitely he's a newer act, young up-and-comer and spitter and stuff like that. And he actually helped cure fans' cancer by promoting holistic remedies. Okay.
He's different.
Yeah, he different. Like, I
like him.
I've seen him do something and listen to him talk about some things that most people his age and in his position are not doing. You know what I'm saying? So he tweeted that he was just informed that he helped cure someone from cancer, that it was major to him. You know, some of his followers expressed skepticism, which is understandable because you're like, yo, what are you talking about? You know, but he said, it's funny because some people think I'm lying, which is understandable, but there's nowhere near the case. Curing disease is simple. It takes meatless, dairy-free, sugar-free diet, implant herbs, sea mosses, black seed, neem, and other herbs. I think, I'm not going to talk about what I think yet. Osei, could there be some type of truth to curing, you know, diseases and cancers and other things by simply changing your eating habits, you know, maybe your fitness goals, you know, what you put in, you know, because they say you are what you eat, you know what I mean? So, and I'm pretty sure you grew up with home remedies like everyone else that probably wasn't what maybe doctors prescribed, but did the job. You know what I mean? So what do you think about NLE Choppa helping a fan out by giving them some medical advice and actually
I think he's on spot on.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I mean, he's clearly, his level of consciousness is definitely
out of this world.
Out of this world, literally. If they saying that the aliens are here, then, you understand, and that's good. I think for his class, it's like every year in hip hop, there's another class that comes in.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
And I feel like he's representing at the at the highest level from a musical standpoint, but as well consciousness. Even just kind of following him, hearing some of the different things he said. I met him once, and I really felt like he's got a really bright energy. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's dope. You know what I mean? And I think that he's speaking the truth. I mean, he said meatless dairy. I mean, they say if you want to hide anything from us, put it in a book because they kept us from reading for so long. But now there's knowledge, and I think in the form that he's able to express himself. One, we come from that old school, that griot.
Yeah.
So we're used to kind of listening to somebody give us the information, right? In a way, and then go back and do your follow-up. So I feel like that's where he's at with it. And I salute the brother, man. He's a young king doing his thing. And he's also helping to usher in this new wave of consciousness globally. Yeah. And food is where it's at. The medicine is in the food. I mean, it's not that it's easy. I try to, I think going as natural, as farm to table as possible. Even if you are consuming meat, I just think the meat on a mass level is really, it's not good for us. Yeah. In a major way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, they've got us accustomed to eating a certain way, just like even as slaves, we were accustomed to eating a certain way, and that wasn't the ideal diet, but it was just, the diet they gave. Yeah, us.
And what we had to do, especially, what's that new show on Netflix? Hog on the Log or something like that. And it goes through like how the soul food was made and stuff like that, and how we actually took with the scraps, and made full course American culture, out of it. Yeah. Shout out to that. Yeah, definitely. And of course, and he's from Memphis. Shout out to Memphis. Memphis produces some strong MCs. You know what I mean? But for him to sit there and be willing to just offer advice, you know what I'm saying, that is at a higher frequency of consciousness and is rooted in, natural, organic things, you know what I'm saying?
Alkalize yourself.
Definitely, is amazing. We need more people talking about it. Of course, the veterans like Nas and Jay-Z and stuff, they sprinkle little gems here and there in the food, in the verses and stuff like that. But for him to sit there and say, hey, man, change your diet, change your food, you know what I mean? And let's see what's happening. Switch it up, And so shout out to that fan who was cured. And we know it's not a one-stop shop. You know what I mean? We know, it may not be as easy as, just taking these herbs and stuff. Maybe you may need chemo. Maybe you may need something else, But I will say, consider all your options. Definitely natural is always more better than chemical. And salute to you, NLE. Last story. Tomorrow is going down. First time versus history, okay? Hip-hop queens. Eve, Pitbull in the skirt. Trina, the baddest. They going head-to-head in versus Wednesday, 8 o'clock p.m., June 16th. You can watch it on the Triller app or on Fight TV on Versus IG. This is the first hip-hop female versus battle. I think it's going to be iconic. Those are both heavyweights in the game. Osei, who you got? What you think?
I got Eve. I mean, I like Trina. I like the energy. I think it's a good look in general. I just think that what Swiss and Timbaland have created is a beast. Yeah, it's a monster, and I think that it's a real cool opportunity, and it's also a good opportunity, I think, for a lot of younger fans to kind of learn history. Yeah, and understand just kind of who some of the foundational people are. You know what I'm saying, in terms of creating.
Yeah, definitely. Because if you sit there and just looking at the artists now like Megan and Cardi or even Nicki, who, side note, curved T-Pain on a verse, and we're not gonna do that. That was funny, but she came back and was like, "Yo, we can make it work." I think a collab with them will actually be fire. Yeah. But even Nick, they looked up to they was running it for the Eves and in the Trinas. You know what I mean? I think it's big. It's major. I'm going with Eve too. You know what I mean? I think it's hard to beat, Blow Your Mind, even though it's not one of my favorite tracks. Yeah. I think it's going to be hard to beat Love is Blind. You know what I mean? It's going to be hard to get Who's That Girl and Tambourine. It's gonna, right. I mean, don't get me wrong. Tina got, you don't know Nat. She can come out with, she can come out with Take It to the House. Yeah. And she definitely can come out with Pull Up. Now, when Pull Up drop, I don't know what's going to go when she drop Pull Up. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I definitely think both of them are phenomenal MCs, not just because they female, because they got bars and they shifted the culture, especially from Philly and from Miami. So shout out to Eve and Trina. Shout out to Swiss and Tim. Go check out Versus. I'll be tapped in. I actually watch it on the Fight TV app on my TV, and I think that's actually dope because you ain't got to sit there and try to airplay it and all that stuff. So it's gonna be cool. Say real quick before we go into the next segment, what you been listening to? What you riding to? What you be putting on? You know what I mean?
I've been listening to heavy to WizKid, Made in Lagos. Just kind of vibing to that project. I think it's dope.
That's the joint that got Essence on it?
Yeah, Essence. That's Tim. That's the dope record, right?
Yo, Essence is crazy.
It's almost one of those. It's a timeless record.
Yeah,
it just feels good. Like almost like Skip Marley, like slow down.
Of course, that
energy.
Yeah.
I've been listening to J. Cole's latest one,
which
is
season.
Crazy. Off season, crazy.
Crazy.
I just started getting into Migos culture.
Yeah,
3, which you know what I'm saying. I like that straightening. I don't know why I like straightening. It's kind of like it's really actually very ratchet. Yeah. But I like how Quavo has the way, like he got some old school OG energy.
Yeah.
The way he even talks. So I like how they come up with their slang.
They harmonies.
Yeah. No,
if you paying attention to the harmonies.
No, listen. I mean, when I say this out of respect, what I do love about what's happening with Migos, I like how like Gucci has kind of maintained some type of because I see his influence on a lot of this era of artists, but without him, getting in their way or taking away or even trying to. I think that's one thing about hip hop. I think the respect. I'm hoping that I can see an evolution in respect for hip hop because I think hip hop loves to it loves to eat its young, and the young love to eat the elders. You know what I'm saying, so to speak. So I just think we need to get. We just need to evolve, and I think that's happening. With everything that's happening, just in the consciousness.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Of course, listening to the off season. I'm always listening to the off season. Like the bars are just out of control. Like you cannot. Cole just can't be touched, man. I don't care what nobody say. Cole is top tier MC. He on his way to God MC. Like he's fire. But I have tapped in to the Migos, Culture 3. I like the first track. One thing about me, like when I deciding if an album is good, is the first track got to be bussin'. You know what I mean? And I will say, Avalanche #1 with the Papa Was a Rolling Stone sample. They did a great job. Yeah. I have to say. And I heard the internet's been talking that Takeoff has been goddamn showing out, which I will say, Takeoff's bars have always been better than everyone else. No, respectfully. But Takeoff's always been my favorite Migo. I feel like he's always been rapping. Ever since Fight Night, he's been showing these cats
Fight Night, he was crazy.
Yeah, you don't know me, know about my Funk Sway certified heavyweight and gotta print the resume. Talking crazy. I'm talking underlay. R.I.P. to Nate Dogg. I had to regulate.
Yeah.
Takeoff. Okay.
Shout out to Migos.
Shout out to the Migos. That Drake joint. Is hard too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He got a lot of bangers on there that I think is going to definitely make the summer crazy. So shout out to Culture 3.
Polo G too, man.
Yeah. He dropped the project. I didn't get to listen to it yet, but
I've heard a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I just like seeing what everybody doing.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we're gonna go into the next segment of our show called The Crossroads. You already know it's a time when we talk about an issue of faith that millennials or just people in general are facing. And I felt like one may not look at this as an issue of faith, but I feel like it is. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's a conversation that has been needing to be had. And I have not seen a platform or heard a platform yet really talk about this. And bro, if you have, then put me on game. But I feel like there's a real issue between the people who are of the diaspora of Africa and those who are in the continent of Africa. You know what I'm saying? I think we got a glimpse of this issue, and y'all, I'm sorry if y'all watching this, y'all see this fly flying around. I'm sorry, yo, it's annoying me, but I don't want to be rude and just like try. You know, it's hard to kind of kill a fly, but see, it's hard. But like in Black Panther, Ryan Coogler and them, you know, like kind of like through the alley, they kind of like open the door for the conversation when you see the difference between the characters of T'Challa and Killmonger. You know what I mean? That there's a real disconnect between those that are the diaspora, meaning those that are not in the continent of Africa, and those that are in Africa, as well as once those who come to the States and how they view the difference in us. You know, sure. And some of us would like to think that we are the same and we're unified and we're all that. But the truth of the matter is that there's a big disconnect based on whether we want to call it colonization or whatever like that between Africans and African Americans. And I thought there would be no one better to talk about this than Osei because of how connected he is to, you know, his native country of Ghana, but also to the culture we have here. And so, Osei, I guess my question to you are just like, what are your thoughts on the relationship between Africans and African Americans? And is there any hope for a sense of reconciliation? And what does that look like? I know that was kind of like 3 questions in one, but I feel like you can tackle it.
I think that there's definitely hope always. You know, I think that this is always, you know, differences in people are always the foundation to build hatred. And I think that, you know, we as Black people, people of color, more than any other group of individuals know this because your skin color is not something you can really hide.
Right, facts.
You can't hide behind anything, you know, unless you are saying that, you know, when the whole mulatto thing became a thing, again, another buffer of separation between white people and Black people who, you know, who represent that in every form from a skin complexion standpoint. I think that, again, it all focuses on the innate primal nature of human beings to be very primal and tribal about certain things. So you always want to side with your tribe, whereas, you know, we live in a much smaller world. You know, back, you know, I mean, a few hundred years ago, the world seemed like it was as big as your immediate territory. But now that we know better, now that we've seen what slavery has done, I think that it's on us to operate more efficiently. And that means having dialogue with each other. You know, I think the best example of what can happen when Africans and African Americans aren't on the same page, I think Liberia is a good case study. And I think that what you see in the Liberian Civil War is a reflection of what happens when hurt people are put, you know, in a position where they're coming back. And again, the class system. So the class system, because you've been colonized by Europeans, you've been enslaved, you've forgotten who you are. I mean, think about it. You got people who come from being beaten, raped, you know, and everything else unimaginable to, you know, you're being sent to Liberia to colonize. Now, let me just take it a step further in terms of where the world was. I mean, think about the savage history of Australia. All those people were quote unquote felons. So imagine if we just rounded up all types of people from jails and regardless of knowing what type of person they were or not, we just send them off to colonize, you know, area.
That's crazy.
That's what happened in Australia.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, and they were very savage towards the Aborigine. Like, let's be clear. So when I talk about what it's been for us on a global level, I think Black people on every inch of this globe, just because of the skin you're in, have been aggressively persecuted. You see what I'm saying? And so I think that you know, that's your religion. One is your skin color, and your skin color is your religion because you were persecuted because of it. So regardless of who you worship or serve, I think that we all need to understand that first. And I feel like you know, it's sad to see what's happening in Ethiopia with the tribal issues there. I know when I was there in 2004, they had the Eritrean Ethiopian war, civil war, or whatever. And so, again, people who many of us wouldn't be able to tell the difference. It always comes down to some type of ethnic cleansing. Yeah. See, when there's nothing left for people to hate, then they turn inward on each other. And I think that that's all people. If white people didn't have black people to focus on, it's easy. When you got somebody that dark over there, it's like, get him. Right. And, I was looking at something that was circulating on the internet. They were showing these hairless chimpanzees. Okay. In the midst of these other, and I hate to use apes, but I also feel like the movie Planet of the Apes is really reflective of how white people saw black people. So symbolically, if you haven't seen that movie, take another look at it and just kind of understand the comparisons that they've made to black people as monkeys. Yeah. But how we also treat something that's different from us. Yeah. And so I think that that's a very primal side. And because we're supposed to be human beings, we're not really as evolved as we really like to take credit for. Talk about it. We're not as civilized as we like to act like we are. Yeah. And that's why I felt like even when you talk about, what it is with colorism, white people have made who they are the dominant thing. That's why I'm very particular about conversations about white Jesus. I'm very anti that. I'm very anti that. Like, for me, and I'm all for faith and everything, but I just think that we have a tendency, because of how we've been indoctrinated, of going overboard. Yeah. And that same complex worked its way into Jonestown. Jim Jones used that white Jesus complex to move all these black people to get behind him. Yeah. People don't know that most of the people that got killed in Guyana and Jonestown were black people. They didn't realize. You don't really get that. Yeah. You just get this white man with all this following. But I interviewed one of the survivors of Jonestown, and it was just an eye opener. Again, going back to that conversation. So we've got to allow how we worship to get out the way. And I say that, hey, the Arabs were just as vicious and brutal as people enslaving black people, as Europe was too. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm all for whatever faith you serve, as long as for the betterment of people. If it's not for people, then I think that we need to, get away from that and figure out a new way. And I think we need to open up our dialogue to talking to one another, not letting whatever respective region we come from get in the way, because there's something out here that's much bigger. And I think that, it's lining up even from a scripture perspective. Yeah. For reasons that are bigger than all of us. It's much bigger than me, than you. Yeah. This is deeper than rap. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, facts. Pun intended. Right. So we need to really get on the game and start to analyze what that is. Because imagine, black. My challenge to anybody black is, if it was just us ruling each other, how would we treat each other? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's very important that we keep those things in the back of our minds. And unfortunately, we do revisit history more often than not, because that's your teacher. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I think that's so crazy that you pointed all that out, especially from a religious perspective, because I don't think we recognize how much enslavement as well as colonization has affected us. You know what I mean? Like, Africans being colonized by Europeans really affected, of course, not only just the language and culture, but the mindset, right? Let alone, when you're ripped from a place of your culture, of your language, of your heritage, when you don't know who you are, where you come from, like who you're connected with, like you have to create your own identity. And unfortunately, when you're doing that and you're also being indoctrinated with a false sense, I would say a false sense of a certain religion, it then makes you think very differently than about how yourself. So like you take a person named like Howard Thurman, right? Howard Thurman was a great theologian. His grandmother was a slave, right? She hated like reading the scriptures that Paul wrote, which is pretty much 2/3 of the New Testament, right? All great stuff. However, the slave masters used that, to not only enslave them, but persecute, the slaves. So she's like, yo, I'm not rocking with anything he had to say. And there's a lot of black people, whether you are
African or you're African American or you're somewhere in between in the diaspora, right? Who really have taken on not only this white Jesus, but that white Jesus comes from a white evangelical perspective of not looking at a historical Jesus, right? Who was a Hebrew, who was a Middle Eastern man, who was darker in complexion, who was a person who, fought for liberation of his people, who was executed by the state. There's a lot of things that if you look at the historical context, you can see the similarities of, he's like us. Like, you know what I'm saying? But when you have been indoctrinated with this blonde hair, blue eyed, notion of God, of Jesus, who is supposed to save you, but you're still in the same type of situation that you're in. Sure. And then, of course, if Google is your friend and you've Googled all the things of, you start to see all this research that shows like, is made up or is taken from this over here or whatever like that. So that plays around. And I think at the center of who we are as a people is our spirit, right? So if your spirit is, scripture says, if there's darkness in your eye, how dark is your soul? Like, how dark are you? You know what I'm saying? If you can't see. So if your spirit is dark and it's not rooted and grounded well, then everything else in your actions, your mind, your soul, your mind, will, and emotions, everything else is going to fall into place similarly, right? So the way I view you, you know what I mean? The way I view myself, you know what I mean, is going to be perverted or twisted, and not to be able to see myself as a whole being, which is like where I think it was powerful when you said, like, when you look at your skin tone as your religion, is like, we can't control that. You know what I'm saying? So everything that we do may look from a perspective of that. And when I read the scriptures and when I look at the way Jesus life specifically, you know what I mean? I don't see Jesus having to separate his ethnicity from his divinity. And I feel like that also plays a role in how we view ourselves and how we operate, because a lot of us, or not a lot of us, some people feel like they have to separate. They have to say that I'm a Christian, or I'm a Muslim, or I'm a Buddhist, or I'm a Jew, or I'm this before I'm that secondary, and I am, this God person first. And they're like, no. Jesus ain't have to do that. I mean, Jesus ain't have to separate that he was fully God, but also fully human. You never see him saying like, yo, you know what I mean? I'm beneath that. You know what I mean? No, he was both and. He understood, what it was like. That's why when he was talking to certain other people, like the Samaritans and stuff like that, he was like, yo, I know that I'm a Jew. I know what we're doing is not supposed to be here, but I'm willing to do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? And I think when we look at, how we've been taught or raised, even outside of religion, when I say it, going back to colonialism and enslavement, of thinking like, okay, we can only be but so much. We can only be so African Americans have to be lazy, and they have to be this because media has trained me to believe that we're only one dimensional. You know what I mean? That we're monolithic in our approach, in the way that we talk, in the way that we speak, in the way we engage and stuff. And then also on the backside, like, that Africans don't live in nice. They go running after zebras and lions. You know what I mean? Forever. It's like. Because we're people who are very intelligent and smart, but we don't necessarily do the research and do the work. We're only taught or believe what we've been shown. And who are the people that are controlling the narratives showing us? You know what I'm saying?
Enslavers.
Like, exactly. So colonizers. You know what I mean? So I think it's imperative for us to have these dialogues, to have these conversations, to know that it is bigger than us. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with, like what happened in Rwanda. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like there has to get to a place, we have as a people, as a community, have to get to a place where we stop looking at our differences as things to say, yo, this makes me higher than you, or this makes me lower than you. And look at our differences as just what makes us more unique, to be able to help each other out.
It enhances.
Right.
It's like, it's the enhancement. It's the spice of what makes you you. And I mean, we can celebrate our differences and still, I think that's the one thing America has evolved into. I think its ideals and its evolution weren't in step with each other. The ideals of the country were one thing, yet the forefathers were heinous. Yeah. I mean, it's just being real. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying that they, didn't have some qualities or whatnot. But when you look at that, they didn't look at us as human beings. I mean, I think animals get more respect than black people.
They do.
I think dogs have more rights than someone of color, because you've never even seen a dog killed the way you saw George Floyd killed on television.
Yeah.
And that's just a fact. If someone can pull... Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not telling you there's not footage, but this was like the literal reflection of this is anger or hatred in its purest form, real time, for everybody to see and witness. And to see, you're going to digest this over time.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, you have young kids who they saw that on television, but they've never seen an animal killed like that. They don't allow that to be shown on TV. They don't allow you to see kids killed.
Yeah.
You notice that?
Yeah.
You've never seen a child actually killed in even a drama.
Yeah.
Because that's by design. They don't want to allow normalizing certain, certain things to be viewed. But George Floyd's death is a normalized reaction.
Yeah.
Walter Scott's shooting was a normalized thing. And so when you start to allow that to be seen, it changes. When they say change the way you look at things and the things you look at change, that's what that epitomizes. Yeah. So we're used to seeing black men slaughtered, not just from these several incidents I just, reference. I'm talking about, you could talk about, all the cases. Eric Garner. Yeah. I mean, it's really too many to name.
Sean Bell,
That's what I'm saying. And think about, we're talking about what the cameras happen to catch.
Right.
Not
even Rodney.
Not the outtakes.
I mean, luckily Rodney kept his life, but still.
But even with that, think about the psychological trauma that he was going through afterwards, because when you think about it, there was no defense of what Rodney King was guilty until he's dead. Mm-hmm. Only thing that would have vindicated Rodney King in that moment is dying. Yeah. Is dying. And God let the world see that. So it lets you know how primitive, our train of thought was. So, color, that construct in America is very prevalent. Yeah. I mean, right after the Rodney King beating and then the riots, you coming on the heels of O.J. Simpson and Nicole Brown Simpson. Yeah. So that was another very highly racially charged, that whole era. You know what I'm saying? But there's a distinct difference in the value of a black life versus anybody else's life.
Very true.
And white people don't understand that, because if you really want to get down to the crux of the matter, even during slavery, the white slavers, sometimes would throw the cargo overboard. Yeah. You don't have to take my word for it. Just go look it up. Yeah. And they were going to get an insurance payout for that. It's just cargo. So think about it. You take the humanity off of something. And that's why you can have people gather around for lynchings. You could have people gather around for burnings at a tree. Like, this is some very primitive behavior. And this is coming from a lot of people who consider themselves to be, quote unquote,
Christians. Exactly.
But not just Christians, Puritans.
Yeah.
So the term Puritan, think about that.
Right.
This goal of seeking purity. That's why it doesn't matter what I think about somebody. I just say to you, listen, live your life. There's a lot of ways that I wasn't raised, but I don't have time to overwhelm myself caring about what somebody else is doing on that level. Yeah. God is going to determine what was and wasn't. I could have been spending my whole life worried about something that I ain't got no business even worrying about. Yeah. Because guess what? That's none of my business. Now, as it relates to me and my children, this is how I'm going to run my household.
Right, facts.
And that's the one liberty that we've all been able to gain here. You know what I'm saying? And I say that with, however you treat the individuals in your family and your life, that's going to be up to you, and you're going to have to just answer to that, right? Yeah. And I say that because, the more you know, the better you should be focused on being. And I think that, we have to know that as black people, you know what I'm saying? Because our healing is only going to begin and end with us. No, there were no grief counselors on site to usher you off of the plantation or out of your village. There aren't people here. We're not here 24 hours at your beck and call because we care. No one cares. And I think that, it's a hard pill for a lot of white people to swallow. And, I'll say one other thing on that before I switch gears, and it's important I speak on it, is because when I saw Piers Morgan kind of storm off the set of his show,
Yeah.
I was like, that's the encapsulation of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the Queen is cool and everything. I don't know her personally, but let's not act like the royal family wasn't at one time racist.
Right.
That Piers, like,
yeah,
that'd be kind of crazy if we
Right.
act like they weren't at one time involved in ensuring that these slave trade, these monarchies,
Right.
the European monarchies were very involved. So, and this is, this dates back as far as even when we talk about the Berlin Conference, and it really got popping for Africa.
Yeah.
So for America, for the previous hundreds of years, that was going on. But think about what was getting ready to take place on the continent. You know what I'm saying? So you got King Leopold, the person the Rhodes Scholarship is named after. These people weren't great people in any sense. They just weren't. You know what I'm saying? But we give people praise. The whole symbolism of tearing down Confederate statues is not rewarding, that hatred that was present. Now, I don't know. I mean, America functions differently, so there's a duality in being able to see both.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, here, I even think that would even be the case for the Jews. You know what I'm saying? Had their Holocaust taken place here, but they also are a lot more empowered culturally as a people than say, Black people have empowered themselves. Because the only way we can do that is I look at them as the real model of saying when they say never again, I believe them. When they say no, and they take justice into their own hands, and they can because of just how as a group their culture is set up.
Yeah.
And we need to do the same thing. The only people that can channel what we've been through is us. And I don't think we should be afraid of reminding people, because the people who really don't want to talk about it are the people who are who perpetuated it and who have benefited from that perpetuation.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not telling you like that's the only time you see people saying, man, can we not talk about it? I mean, I've never heard people not want to talk about something so much but want you to get over something.
Yeah.
Like, therapy is what it is for a reason. Therapy is about talking.
Yeah.
Therapy is about, being heard. That's why you don't silence victims. People who go through trauma, sexual trauma, physical, abuse. You don't silence people. And so I think Black people have had their voices silenced since the beginning. And people are accustomed to us. We don't want to hear you unless you're singing.
Dribble, shut up and dribble. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I mean, people have no problem expressing who they are in those instances. And I just think that it's a constant call for white people to be present and to understand, like, do you hear yourself? Sometimes you have to be, the reflection for people. So, like, I don't know if you really can hear yourself or see yourself, but I'm going to show you in just a moment.
Facts.
I think that sometimes that can be painful for any of us.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's what we are called on to do, and to be a lot wiser and to, celebrate what the ancestors left for us. Because there are people who sacrifice the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah, man.
For us right here. So, yeah.
I hope y'all got them bars right there, man. I hope this has been your Black History facts, reminders. Like, for real, like, in all honesty, yo, African Americans, like, yo, we need to come together. We need to be unified. We need to reason, listen to each other, get rid of the stuff that is separating us. Come together, you know what I mean? Because ain't nobody gonna come to save us.
No,
ain't nobody coming to save us. Nobody cares about our issues except
and go
for
to
us.
Africa. If you are from, if you consider yourself to be African American, you need to go to Africa too, ASAP.
Yeah.
And figure out how it's like being at a family reunion. The first hour is really weird for everybody, but once you understand that, what I'm saying. That hour can translate into, days, maybe, it's weeks, maybe it's months. But once you get through that initial understanding and you say, okay, cool, these people are me, you know what I mean? And that's on both sides. I think we all have to do that to progress.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to get over there ASAP, you know what I mean? So definitely appreciate that, them bars, man. And also, and I don't know if you wanted to get into this, but yeah, like we are not the same. We are on a spectrum, and I think that is amazing. You know, see the difference, embrace the difference. We can learn a lot.
Yeah, all black people aren't the same, and I am going to be doing a TED talk on that called, Black as a Spectrum, and comparing it, so to speak, to autism, because we've been persecuted for. Sometimes even by one another for not being quote unquote black enough, and for some of us being too black. And what does any of this mean? But the thing about it is we have to understand that because, they took terms and terminology and associated that with who we are, like dark skin, things that were understood to be negative, but that's the name that they gave us to run with. And so we just need to stop carrying other people's pain and learn how to manage our own and come up out of this and work collectively to build our own utopia. And not that anything's ever perfect, but at least that's what we're striving towards, building a better place than we arrived.
Yo, couldn't have said it any better, man. So we're gonna get into our last and everybody's favorite part of the show. Top 5. You already know. Top 5 is when we talk about a debate, pretty much barbershop talk, boy talk. I mean, the stuff that we talk about and we argue about all the time. So we're going to list top 5 of every subject. And of course, because we have Osei in the building, we got to get into this. So Osei, I'm going to let you pick which one we're going to do. All right. Okay. So we can go with top 5 African artists, meaning that they have African ancestry in them. Not just like, okay, black people, but we know, like, if we know, like, yo, okay, you Guyanese or you Nigerian, or you know what I mean? We can go that, or we can do top 5 African dishes.
Let's go dishes.
Okay, all right.
4,000.
All right, top 5 African dishes. Now, I already know Osei's going to wash me because he is African by nature, okay? So, I'm African American, but I'm going to try to hold my own. But Osei, you want to go 1 to 5 or 5 to 1? How do you...
Let's go 5 to 1.
All right, cool. So, Osei, give us your top 5 African dishes. Put us on.
Okay. Number 5, pepper soup. That's like a mainstay. No, I'm sorry. Number 5, Kelly Welly. Number 4, pepper soup. Okay. You can do that a few different ways. Number 3 would be, for me, palm nut soup. So that's number 3. Number 2 would be spinach egusi or contomere from Ghana. So that's one of my favorites. And number 1 is Ghanaian Jollof. And you know the vibe. Y'all know that.
You know the
vibe.
I
don't say anything else.
Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so these are not necessarily my 5 that I enjoy. I'm just saying I think these are 5 that when I've surveyed the land, these have been kind of like consistent. And also, I come from a Nigerian perspective because I'm married into the Nigerians. So shout out to all the Nigerians out there. Niger. Boop, boop. All right, so we're gonna go number 5. I'm gonna go with egusi. Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna go egusi number 5. I heard egusi is popping. You know what I mean? Number 4, I'm gonna go with they make like this fried rice. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They make this fried rice. So I'm gonna go fried rice. Now, here's where we're gonna get a little dicey. Okay. Number 3, I'm gonna go with suya. Okay. I personally would probably put suya at number 1 myself. Personally, suya is busting. Okay.
Yeah.
If you know how to do it right, whether it's lamb or the beef.
You're winning.
Suya's. But I know you know, some of my Nigerians would be like, Suya is not, you know. So I'm gonna go Suya. So if all my Nigerian people, feel free to drop a comment or review. Let me know if I'm holding y'all down right. All right, so 3, I'm gonna go with Suya. Whew, this might. So 2, I'm going to go with. I'm gonna go with nah. I now I gotta change the order because now I'm thinking like, all right, we're gonna take. Sorry. We're gonna take. We're gonna still keep a goosey. I'm gonna take fried rice off. I'm gonna move suya to number 4. Number 3, I'm gonna put pepper soup. Can't go without the pepper soup. I know that's just like you can't go. And because I put pepper soup in number 3, number 2, I'm gonna go with fufu. I don't know how you forgot fufu, but you cannot. I don't eat fufu. Oh, you don't eat fufu? Yeah, okay. I give extra credit for you. Fufu, you can't. Okay. I ain't never seen any of my Nigeria around, and fufu is not anywhere close. Okay. And then number 1. I am gonna go with the jollof rice because the jollof rice is, oh man, hands down.
You going Nigerian or Ghana?
I'm going Nigerian. I haven't had the Ghana one yet, but I'm gonna have to. I have to. You know, I don't
keep home together.
Let Aya come in here and talk about I went the guy.
You know what I mean? Make sure I was clear.
She gonna start speaking pidgin on me.
Right.
You gotta get up out of here. But definitely. Definitely, if you have not tried any of the traditional African dishes, make sure. I know I left off rice and stew. I was thinking rice and stew was definitely going to be it.
Right.
It was going to hit.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I just felt like, out of my choices, I had to, So, definitely, if you have a comment, if you think, extra list is trash, or if you want to challenge Osei on the list, definitely drop a comment, write a review. DMs, send us smokes, whatever you got to do. Let us know. You know what I mean? What's your favorite African dish? If it's something, I know plantains too. I know plantains are on there for some people. You know what I mean? Definitely plantains is something good. Or meat pies. You know what I mean? Or some people get down on the meat pies. You know what I mean? But definitely let us know. I think that was a good top 5.
Yeah, that was really. That's impressed me.
All the
people lovers, I know they gave you extra credit on that. So shout out to X on that.
I was sitting there running through before you came, and I was like, I ran through with my wife. I was like, I don't know if I have enough, and then I started listening. I was like, oh, okay, I know.
It was in your DNA. Right. It just kicked in.
I might be Nigerian. I need to go give me that African ancestry.
AfricanAncestry.com. We get to it.
Go see.
Yeah.
Now, I'm definitely trying to get to the motherland ASAP. So definitely need to get there. I know you're going to be going back soon. So definitely bring the kids something back.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So did you have a good time, Osei?
It was dope.
Good.
I enjoyed you, man. I congratulations. Continue to do your thing, man. Continue blessings.
Thank you, man. That means a lot from the legend, man. Definitely trying to get, like Osei with this smooth voice. I need to lower my register real quick. Just be on some real smooth, Man, I'll tell you, Osei is a legend. He's definitely dope in everything he does.
You,
Osei, tell the people how they can get in contact with you if they want to, book you, if they want to see you, if they want to see some of the content you got, if they're trying to get this TED Talk popping. What they need to do? How they find you, man?
Osei the Dark Secret on YouTube, on the gram, on Twitter. Just reach out. I'm here. I'm moving. I hope to see you at Reggae in the Park, AfroCon.
Yeah.
So some things that are evolving, and look forward to seeing you too beyond the year of return in Africa, in Ghana, on the continent, as a starting point. Saying hopefully I'll be learning some things from some of the people who may be able to see this as well. So that's what it is, and bless up, bro.
Yeah, definitely. And you got a podcast, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I got the Black Star podcast.
Dope.
You'll be hearing a lot more about that coming soon. So just look for it. But if you just keep up with me everything else, you know what I'm saying, you know about that too.
Facts. Definitely, if you're going back to Ghana for the year, let me know.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to I need to go there.
Yeah.
I've heard so many stories about that door. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I really want to feel and embrace it. You know what I mean? And somehow I got to slide to Nigeria and take the wife to Nigeria because she ain't been back. So definitely got to go do that. As always, follow us on all social media at crownsuppod, CROWNSUPPOD. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and like I said, all social media, YouTube. Get the subscribers up. Drop the review. You know, number one spot for hip hop, faith, and culture. Keep your crown fit and your soul lit. As always, we love you and keep your crowns up. Till later. Next time. Deuces.